The government has been going on about social media, and we could debate whether they're really serious about it or whether they're just trying to censor us. But to tell you the other group that's been talking about social media, and that's school teachers, and I reckon on that score, they've got a point. Now, Joe, the papers that you write for, News Limited papers, they've been all over this with a series of articles detailing the damage that's being done to young people through their use of social media. The Courier Mail ran a story from a respected Queensland teacher. She's taught for 30 years in some of Queensland's top schools, and she says kids are turning out literally like zombies. In the article, she says kids complain they don't have time to do homework or assignments, but that's because they're on social media all night. They think they don't have to work their way up or study to be successful. It's just there for the taking. Now, in the US, last November, 33 US states filed lawsuits against Instagram and Facebook, accusing them of fueling a mental health crisis amongst young people, specifically because of the way they instigate their algorithms to provide a dopamine hit for young people. Levels of depression are rampant among young people, though we've never had it better as a society. So this is a big issue, Joe, in schools, and your papers have gone huge on it.
Yeah. Look, it is absolutely. Again, I'm a bit like a broken record on this. The only change in what I have come to believe a long time ago about social media and the dangers and the harms that it causes is that it's even worse than your most apocalyptic nightmare. I mean, just on what you were saying before, it creates poor mental health, poor academic performance. It exposes kids at best to a whole bunch of unreal images, unattainable images that make it seem like everyone else is having a better, more glamorous, more affluent life than them, and that they're missing out and they're not getting enough, and it makes them want things that they don't need and can't afford, and therefore that makes them depressed and, again, feel like they're missing out. It also exposes them to bullying 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from either people they might know who are at their school who have absolutely no barriers to be able to attack them and can, of course, get around any barriers that you do try to put up. And, of course, we all know that if you're getting it and you know it's happening, that actually makes you want to sort of, lift the scab, if you like, because that's a human response to see what are they saying about me, what are they saying about me. We know that it also exposes people to trolling from complete strangers, from complete anonymity. And that, again, is just the tip of the iceberg. Then you look about things like, what they're doing with, fake news, what they're doing with, and again, I know that's highly contested, but what they're doing with just making stuff up, using AI to generate news stories that aren't real, that in some cases are defamatory or get things horribly wrong. This is a curse in our schools. I've spoken to that many ministers, teachers, principals who say that it's an absolute nightmare. Every Australian school is now going to ban mobile phones, at least during the school day. I
can't believe that was even a debate.
It's unbelievable. And I think not all states have actually done it just yet.
Every parent knows it's an insidious influence and it has no place in the classroom.
But get this, right? This is another thing I found out when I was doing this. I went to a school in Sydney, Ashfield Boys, fantastic school. Even when you take the phones away, that still causes distraction and a reduction in cognitive function because the kids are worried about what's happening on the phone that they're missing out on, and it's in their school bag or in another room or whatever. So this school actually had to build a glass locker that it puts at the front of the class.
So you could see it.
So you could see your phone, know it was in a secure place, know that you couldn't access it. And so the part of your brain that is tempted by, that's right, the part of the brain that is tempted by your phone and wants to go and find it and pick it up and look at it gets shut down so that you can then concentrate on your schoolwork, play with your mates in the playground at lunchtime instead of just sitting there frozen into your phone and actually learn something. This stuff, we've unleashed the equivalent of crack cocaine.
Well, on that point, Anna Lemke, she wrote a book in 2021 called Dopamine Nation. She's a Stanford University professor, and she said the effect on young people is literally the same as if they were doing opioids.
And we've known this for years. That's what's frustrating. We run these campaigns, but we have known this for years. Kids now have these devices from a very young age. They are highly addictive. We know that. We know the rates of depression and anxiety have gone through the roof. Image issues, it's particularly amongst young girls because they're constantly looking at these mostly photoshopped photos of pin-up models and all the rest of it, comparing themselves. Why don't I look like that? Kids, even those women don't look like that. And yet they get this comparison. It is unhealthy in every single way, shape and form. And yet this is another way in which we have embraced technology to the detriment of society and with absolutely no thought to the far-reaching effects. Yeah. What will this look like in 10, 20 years' time when we have generations that have been raised on these things? We're starting to see the results and the future looks grim.